Hey, I'm Jeremy Saffer. I'm a commercial portrait photographer. I work with mostly bands and celebrities doing editorial and commercial portraiture, magazine covers, album covers, that kind of stuff. So today we're going to talk about something I find a lot of photographers don't utilize, which is changing the color temperature of their lights and changing the color temperature of their camera. So some of the things you can do with changing the color temperature, making it colder temperature or warmer temperature, is emulating golden hour or emulating moonlight. So if you are looking at daylight, which these lights are, which is 5500 Kelvin, 5500 K, that's gonna give you a cold tone if you shift to 3000 K, which is full CTO color temperature orange. So if you have the backlight set to 3000 K, front light set to 5500, you're gonna get that golden hour kind of feel. Swap them, you're gonna have that moonlit kind of feel, but you have to change the color temperature in your camera to achieve that. What we're gonna do is set the main light to 3000 and the backlights to 5500 to give that moonlit kind of feel. So the lights we're gonna be using for this setup is we're gonna be using all nanlite lighting, which is all LED lighting. The tubes are 30Xs, the mini cobs are 60Cs, and the big guys are 300B2 with a rapid para 120. And what we're gonna be doing is changing the 300B2 from 5500 to 3000 while everything else is staying at 5500. In terms of settings, my tubes are at 100%. My 60Cs, my mini cobs, they have parabolics on them, so they're set to 25% because parabolics really intensify the lighting. They magnify the lighting. Where this big 300B is set to about 20%, somewhere between 20 and 30 is where it's gonna land, and that balances out this giant softbox with the tubes and the 60Cs. The camera I'm gonna be using is the Leica SL2 with the 24-90, which is the main lens I use for my shoots. I shoot a lot of bands where you have 5 people, 10 people, whatever, and so having the ability to shoot super wide or get a face shot all in a single lens is really important to me. So let's see what we get. Modeling for us today is internationally published model Tara Leary. We're gonna do a bunch of different looks with her today and get a bunch of cool stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is change the color temperature of the main light from 5500 to 3000 K, full CTO color temperature orange. Everything right now is 5500 K. I'm gonna use the app real quick, go into the color temperature, set it from 5500 to 3000, and you're gonna see her skin turns orange. She has orange light on her. So you'll know your color temperature set wrong if the subject in front of you looks like The Simpsons. So what we're gonna do is change the color temperature in this camera and in the camera I'm shooting with to 3000 K, and that's what it should look like. Check it out. So now that we changed the color temperature in camera to 3000 K, everything looks as it should. Your orange is now your neutral. So your 3000 K is your neutral white. And then all of these 5500 K, all of these lights are gonna go pale blue and give you that moonlit kind of feel. So if you think of like those Harry Potter night scenes or Twilight, that's how they shoot that kind of stuff. That's how they make night shoots during the day, using those giant orange gels. But for us, thankfully, these are LEDs. It's in the light. I don't need a giant gel. Makes things a bit easier. So my settings right now, I'm at 1/200th, f4.0 at ISO 800. One thing I love about LED lightings is in terms of test shots with strobes, you have to get test shots, then make your adjustments. With LEDs, you can kind of look and see what it's gonna look like, and that's what it's gonna look like in camera, less mirrorless. So let's shoot. Hands down to the side. Now let's add some fog. So next thing we're gonna do is add some fog. And what fog's gonna do, especially with these tubes being long lights, is it's gonna catch all of that light. And when we're shooting with that cold tone, it's gonna get all that nice cold blue in there. We're gonna use a thick fog and load it up behind her, and it's gonna look epic. Awesome. Bring your hands onto the jacket. Turn your face to the left, looking out that way. Perfect, looking at the light. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change my main light from the 300B2 to the 60B2. And then I'm gonna use the projection mount and the slides to really cut light right where her eyes are and give that universal monster kind of feel. So I'm just gonna connect this guy on and off we go. All right, so now that I have that light in her eyes, and I have it set to 40% at 3000K, and what that's gonna do is make it so you get to see these features. If I have this too bright, you're only gonna see the light in her eyes. Because I have this turned down a little bit, it's gonna balance with the lighting around her, and the fog, which is, diffusing all this light, bouncing light everywhere, you're gonna see all the details of her clothing as well. And that is what I want in a shot like this. Another really cool thing to do when you have all this fog in here and it's catching all of that light is you can drop out front light completely and shoot a fully backlit shot at 5500K with all that fog in there, just bouncing light everywhere, and it's gonna look killer. So let's kill this light and see what it looks like. All right now we are fully backlit and I'm shooting at the same exact settings. Awesome, that looks killer. Look out this way. Perfect. One thing to keep in mind is when fog floods your set, it's gonna bounce light everywhere and diffuse light. So your exposure might change just like. So I do have a light behind her, and that's to catch all of this fog. If I turn this light off, you'll see how much fog drops out. You'll see how much just went away, right? And then how much this catches when I turn it back on. So for me, I always like having that light behind her, the lights from the side, and the lights from above to really make a wall of fog behind her when I'm using those kind of effects. On behalf of Hunt's Photo Education, I've been Jeremy Saffer. If you like this, I do a lot of this and so much more with Hunt's during my workshops there. Come check one out.